On this week's edition of John's Briefs, we're with Terry Johnson again from Firearms Legal Protection, and I want to talk about our legal responsibilities if we have a gun taken from us or stolen from us. Today's video is brought to us by the generosity of Firearms Legal Protection. Firearms Legal Protection is a legal defense program for lawful gun owners. You win the fight, and they will help you win the fight after the fight for the rest of your life. There's a link in the description for a coupon code for a discount for all active self-protection. Terry, again, thank you so much for being on the program and for bringing this incredible education to people for nothing.
Well, it's our pleasure. Again, that's part of Firearm Legal Protection's mission, not only to protect folks, but to educate as well.
Man, I think that's good because I don't want to be, I say all the time, I'm not a gun guy. I am a self-defender, and I want to do that in moral and legal ways.
Right. Wherever
we go. So, okay, so the video in question that we're talking about here, we had three different instances of awareness, one of which the guard wasn't aware he was actually killed. His gun was taken from him. Second one, guard wasn't killed, but he wasn't paying attention. Guy put a gun to his head. His buddy took the guy's gun out of his holster, and they run off with it. Third one, guy was prepared, right? Was paying attention, didn't get anything taken from him. They actually didn't end up having a fight. So that made me think about the idea of when I have a gun taken, all right? Yes. Now, I think if somebody holds a gun to your head and takes your firearm, that seems like, okay, so I didn't do that. I wasn't negligent. It was taken from me by deadly force. I'm probably not going to be legally liable for anything that happens with that weapon at that point.
Well, you know, things are evolving in the law. I'm going to take the viewers out to the state of Washington, their 1639 bill, which is just a
travesty.
Words cannot describe.
Yeah, it's a mess.
They now have mandatory reporting when your gun is taken.
Okay.
And they actually have penalties up to and including prison time if, in fact, that firearm is used in the commission of a crime.
If you don't report it.
If you don't report it, correct.
If you did report it stolen, you're good?
Pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, you have a certain amount of time from the, you know, again, without the statute in front of me, but I want to say it's, you know, once you find out, I think you've got like 5 days or something like that to report it.
Which, I mean, okay, so that law is a travesty.
Yes.
But I certainly think if you have a firearm stolen, you want to report that.
Immediately.
Immediately.
And here's the thing, you know, a lot of different states do different things. So, for example, you know, I'm barred in the state of Michigan, and Michigan's one of 5 states that has a registration program, which I think is a travesty. Oh my God, it's horrible. Firearms registered to person A, something happens to my gun, I don't report it, there's a crime committed, guess what's going to happen? They're coming back looking for person A, right? Thing you have to understand, they have ways of tracing these things back. You don't want it traced back to you if something's been involved in a crime. It's kind of like your car getting stolen. Why would you not call the police and say, hey, someone has stolen my car?
Right. Well, and okay, so maybe you have, you own 1 gun or 2 guns. Okay, fine. If you're like me and one of those folks who I own more than that, and so guess what? My insurance, I have a rider for valuable property because they're valuable.
Absolutely.
Well, guess what? Every single one of those is written down by make, model, and serial numbers, so then that way I know what I have in case of an insurance loss.
Yes.
And nobody else has to have that right now, but I sure know.
Well, correct. And like I said, what you don't want to have happen is that firearm is, whether it's taken from you, like you just mentioned, whether you're robbed or someone, when I say robbed, I mean physically, someone puts a gun to your head, takes it, or someone breaks into your house and steals it, or let's say you leave it in your car and someone takes it out.
I read a statistic, was it Chuck Haggard or Greg Ellifritz that said, it was Greg, I think, who said about 85% of stolen guns in his jurisdiction, he's a cop, were guns taken out of unlocked vehicles that were not secured.
Yeah.
That's dumb. If you do that, I judge you. I judge you, you idiot. Don't do that. Anyway.
Well, you know, the interesting thing is, once you find out it's gone, just make a report.
Just report it.
And why? And I know it seems so simple, but now the question someone's going to ask is, what if I don't know it's gone and it gets used in a crime? Am I liable? You're probably not liable, but you're going to have lots of, what's the word I want to use? You're going to have to basically explain why you didn't say anything. Are you now an accessory to this crime? Are you hiding something? You don't want that negative light shined on you.
Well, and it seems to me, wait a minute. So as listen, I am a Second Amendment absolutist. How would you not know that you've had a gun stolen? Whether that somebody broke into your car, or if you're leaving a gun unsecured long enough that you don't know. Like, look, my guns are either locked up in secure containers or they're on my person. So, and like if I come into my house and suddenly my safe door is open and I didn't open it, like, well, that's weird, and I'm going to close it, like, or am I going to take an inventory of what was in there and make sure nothing's gone?
Well, you know, you mentioned cars earlier. Let's go with cars. So, for example, let's say you walk into a pistol. You're going somewhere. You're going to go to a professional sports game. Most jurisdictions do not allow you to carry firearms into professional sports games. You leave your firearm in the car. You come back. Maybe your window's broken out. Maybe the door's unlocked.
Right.
You look around. You say, "Oh my God, they got my gun." That's the time to report it at that point.
Well, you're going to call the cops to report the break-in anyways.
Correct.
So, and you're going to have an insurance claim on personal property inside there. Whatever gets taken, the firearm's part of that.
Correct.
So report it, and then you're probably not on the hook for anything that's done with it from there.
Correct. And I've got a gentleman I just recently defended. Interesting thing is he had a gun that he reported stolen. He was moving from point A to point B. He and his wife, because they had just gotten married, were moving in together, and the gentleman's cousin had stolen a gun during the transition. Wow. Okay, he didn't know this happened, and the police are giving him a hard time because once he realized it, that the firearm was gone, it had been used in the commission of a crime. So you gotta know, keep an eye on your things.
So I think at the end of the day, we say legally, as long as you're responsible, as long as you're smart about this, and you don't go, somebody stole a gun out of my car, weird, and carry on with life,
right,
you're probably okay. But if you are, I hate to use the word negligent, but you don't do the things you ought to do, then you could have a hassle in proving that you didn't intentionally, you weren't intending to be the accessory to a crime.
That and we don't want to give the anti-2A'ers an opportunity to talk about stolen guns and other types of firearms that are on the street illegally. Mm-hmm. We are adding to the myth, per se, that all these guns are coming out here. If we report this, that will be a big help to us on our side.
A big help. And of course, if you have to leave a gun in the car, get some kind of security container.
Yes.
and secure that sucker to your car, because they're not going to sit there and do the 10 minutes worth of work it takes to get it out of there. Don't leave unlocked doors in your car. Don't leave guns in your car unsecured. That will prevent those things from happening. And God forbid if you do have a firearm stolen. I have a friend here in town who recently had a firearm stolen out of his truck. Report it immediately, and if you can, make sure you got your identifying information, so then that way you can tell the police. I've actually had a friend have a gun returned to him like 4 years later.
Oh wow!
Who had it stolen, reported it by serial number, and then got a call, hey, we recovered your stolen property. Then he had a heartache of getting it back through an FFL and all these other things.
Sure.
But he got his property back at the end of things. So
that's
a good
great.
reason.
That's great.
Yeah. So Terry, again, thanks so much for the information.
Thank you.